as best as I can, Honorable Chair and members of the House. Senator Lizinkosi, thank you so much for your questions. Because they are interesting, and I'm thankful to all of you for your questions, because there are things that we also work with and talk about and try to get to the bottom of. The starting point is the issue of connectivity. You know, a lot of questions get answered by connectivity. Even the small business operational questions get answered, because if we all have connectivity, and I don't mean just being able to connect, I mean speed, I mean reliability, I mean being able to have cost-effective connectivity, because that is also an imperative, whether you're a business owner, small or big, whether you're a government official, or whether you're a general public, you want to be able to have these things. They are no longer, Honorable Chair, luxuries. They are now, I think I mentioned some time before that when they did a study, they said that the area of ICT and digitization is no longer a luxury now, it's second to water. That's why everywhere you go, they're always carrying the gadget, and they say that people look at it, you know, every 24 minutes, they're looking at the gadget. So what I'm saying to you is, you're just doing it because it's a luxury. So we want to expand connectivity. And on the issue of energy, the reason why I'm so excited that the question's being asked, we cannot do as a ministry with just the power that is currently being used for the residential market as well as the commercial market. One of the things we've spoken about in the ministry is, and we have approached the Ministry of Natural Resources, it would be a very wonderful thing for us to be able to have dedicated power as a ministry. And I'll tell you why, Honorable Chair. Because that speed you want, that constant connectivity that you want, that reliability that you want, has to have a marriage with power. You can't do it alone. Yes, we can put up fiber optic. Yes, we can put up every single thing. You know, satellites, we can put up microwaves, but we need to have a relationship with power that is not disturbed, that is continuously there, because what does that then lead to? It leads to us being able to have real data centers, real robotics, because those kinds of operations cannot afford to have even a millisecond of disturbance. So the power situation gets married with us, and we would like to be able at some point to see how we can work with the Ministry of Natural Resources to have dedicated power. Because one of the questions that were asked by you, Chair, was the issue of the SEZ. The selling point of the SEZ is power. We need to have power, whether it's for the biotech, whether it's for the technology that's going to be investing there. That's going to be very critical. So we really need that, and we want to be green power. We want to be green power because that's also a position that really makes us sell and makes us attractive to those who are looking to invest, Honorable Chair. The issue of STEM, you know, I've been dealing with STEM in my personal capacity for a very long time. And I've been preaching this gospel for so long, I almost can say it if you wake me up at 3 in the morning. We, at our age group, and I assume everybody here is over the age of 30, except me, perhaps, we had an option to work with paper. Anybody who's born now from the age of 10 down will not see paper. So even if we try to have paper, their generation will not have paper. So why don't we start this now? Why don't we go into the schools and change the curriculum? We are working as a ministry with the Ministry of Education to say, Yabongos, Umba 2 years old can operate the machinery. Noma was a makai, in the genes to do this. Why not open up this road for them? What is it that is holding us back from saying, hey, perhaps at 5, they no longer need an education from university? Because at that point, as Honorable Spanze was saying, they can already have a business. The jobs we are going to, I'm sad to say to the parents in the room, are not going to exist tomorrow. And tomorrow is literally now. That's really the old model. I'm not saying universities are dying, I'm saying they must change dramatically. And I'm also saying, if we are really serious about creating a first world country, let's start with our kids who really, really want to be able to have a future. Their relationship with the chair and others have asked, Google, is to try and see how even the free academies can be able to go into the schools, so that from K through 12, which is kindergarten through 12, we're already infusing this knowledge to teach our children the subjects that we took. I mean, I did Macbeth and the other guy, I don't know who fell off the roof for love. That's wonderful, but it does nothing for making me be an income producer or an earner. So why are we still doing that? Why are we still teaching guys falling off roofs? Why can't we teach our children what comes naturally to them? And that is why I think what you're asking is so important and why I'm so excited about it. And I do hope, Wutsi, as we continue to work with the Ministry of Education, we really can be able to infuse it. That is why we decided, Wutsi, we bring in the program of teaching 50 teachers. So that we get the teachers involved as well, because I don't think we have enough teachers in this space. And guess what? We're getting to a point where I'm afraid to say we may not need teachers. These children will teach themselves. And that's the scary part, because normally 2 years, that's why they know how to use these things. We just have to be able to resource the natural talent. And also to know, our kids are differently able. Not all of them will be able to go to university. And if they do, they'll go to a different, a surgeon will not now go to look to cut. There's robotics that will cut for them. So let's talk about how do we teach those things and lead. We have a very good opportunity right now to get in front of this, so that the jobs that we're scared of losing, we actually reskill ourselves and get in front of that, Honorable Chair. You asked about the issue of what is Google going to give us? A few things. You are the company you keep. If we are punching above our weight with these global names like Google, we start to become a global player, Honorable Chair, and we have an association of a brand name. That's the first thing. I can guarantee you that it is not in Google or any of these big companies' interest to steal information, because the only business model they have is information. And by the way, even though we believe that companies come and steal information, there are contracts that you sign with them that give you the capacity to be able to sue those who take your information. Now, suing a company is always something that companies avoid doing or getting sued. So I can tell you now that the model of these companies is they get better and better as companies. Their share prices depend, and their wealth depends on them not losing information, not sharing information, and ensuring whatever. And that's why it took so long for the relationship. They usually work with the private sector to be able to convince them that we would be a great sandbox to work with in being able to prove that they can also work with governments. They only work with governments in the West. So we are really, I hope at some point in the future, we'll be able to look back and understand what a great door this opens. It also then allows competitors and those who they work with in harmony. How if Google is there, maybe there's something there, maybe we should go and look. But also, to Senator Savannah's point, there's a thing called YouTube. There's a thing called TikTok. YouTube is owned by Google. The child he is speaking about, Rosekai, can now use YouTube to make money. And are already on YouTube. The problem we have is they're not getting paid in this country. And so they sell content, and their content gets taken by South African kids and make money on that. Why can't we open that? It's a different kind of business, and you and I don't have to understand it. But it exists, it's real money, and they make it in their little bedrooms. They never get out of the bedroom. But they're right. They make more money than we have ever made in what we're doing in different places. So why don't we give them those resources? And I think part of what we're doing with Google is that. But also, Honorable Chair, we have to know, whether it's on deed land, Noma, Swaziland land. Now, unfortunately, you know, King Sobuza used to say, no man in Swaziland land. Sometimes we've not done that. But what this Google environment does for us is we'll be one of the few countries in the world to have digital addresses. So all you do is, you just send me the Google address, but also then it helps EPTC and other courier deliverers to know what you just use a Google address and you're able to deliver this at this particular party, because we don't have now the infrastructure to go and hold everything down and do urban planning. It also gives us the opportunity to see what you would see. When we do government in your hand, we use the latest and the best information globally, and we do it faster with experienced people. We don't have the time, Honorable Chair, to start and stop and check, and maybe Charlie, maybe my cousin Larry could help out. We are working at a fast pace where if we don't go fast, we'll be left behind. So we want to be able to go with the best players, who Google is one of, who can give us their best and their latest. And also, we can negotiate better prices with the licenses. We are dying in government with licenses. How do we get better pricing on the licenses? That's important. And that thing will be able to help other people, including small business owners, because licensing and other companies is quite expensive, and yet it's something that's required by every single individual. I would want to say also for government and other players, we're going to have Google Workspace, which is the managing of government work, making it much more effective. Is a tendering process. The tendering process is an interesting environment, Honorable Chair. If it were for us as a ministry, we'd love to be able to have it included in what we do. Because I think, in fact, I know, I just say I think because it's what you say. I know that if we were to able to take our whole entire tendering system and digitize the entire thing, it would really minimize the issue of corruption. And if we are able to do that, then the Langiani, we can be able to stretch it, and it can do more. We would love to be able, Honorable Chair, to be able to do that. We were asked about the relationship between EEC and EPTC. We want to be able to, we had asked to see what is the cost of doing a whole country's fiber optic. I think I mentioned this before. The number was just too high. So EEC, because they already have fiber optic over 500 kilometers, we said, let's go back to them and just have them expanded. And that will be expanding for the speed, the connectivity, the reliability, but also start expanding it to the point as if we're preparing for the investors, so that when they come in, they say, now, and also have the power. That sort of, it's that marriage. We're now setting up teams, because you asked how far we are. We've done the plan for it. We're setting up teams, one team per region, so we can do it a bit faster. And then there will be a representation from our ministry and EPC managing the entire process. And we're looking to say, can we do this within a 12 to 16-month process and cover the entire country? Because EEC and EPTC have got engineers who are experienced, we think that we can be able to do this. We've also had to go out and get a loan, Honorable Chair. And we are negotiating one and finalizing one now with the World Bank and other financial institutions. Because your money is now, really, if we use that money, I think even by 2045, that was the next year. We want to be able to see as they say, and be able to cover the entire country. We're also going to, of course, need satellites. That's also important. We're also, of course, going to be able to need microwaves and all that. I mean, the other area which you did not ask me about, but I just want to share with you, Honorable Chair, is we need as a country to be able to operate in the satellite space as well. Because the children to which Honorable Ngosi was talking about are no longer working in the fiber optic space. I mean, fiber optic, in a sense. It's today, but it's not tomorrow. Satellite and having space in orbit, you've got to park a satellite dish there. I mean, a dish is about 296 million. Just let me tell you some useless information. The US is the country with the most satellites in space, 2,200 satellites, right? Followed by the UK, then followed by Japan, Africa. South Africa's got the most. I think they've got 11 to 13 right now. Elon Musk on his own has 7,000. So what I'm saying to you is, why is that? It means that you've got to follow where people are going and understand why they're going there and figure out how you can get in front of it. We don't have one. We don't have the space. We gave up the space. So we are now looking to negotiate that space back and negotiate hard to get it back. We seem to let opportunities go, and sometimes we score own goals. So we just got to figure out how we get in front of things, because these things are important. Ngoba ngiyalo lokunye sesinekwazi kwenda kahle ngoba omakhelwane labahlakaniphilisa abantu ukuthi no, we can take over lapha ngathi lelo bunye building abe iyavusana. So that's what we're trying to do. We've got the plan, and we're hoping to commence this May, June, and we're hoping to be able to have it done in 12 to 16 months. The issue of the TV license we talk about with the CEO all the time. I'm not convinced that we have worked very well in the collection. I think that a stronger law has to be put in place. And I think the CEO will tell you that we discuss this all the time. And I think one of the things that we want to really do well is then see how we can partner with people like the ERS. They seem to bring the fear of God in people. And maybe once they're bringing that fear of God, people can pay. Because I think it's only right. If you're going to enjoy the programs, you need to pay for the programs. And as we put in new programs, I mean, we're going to be coming up with some more exciting programs, which I think people will enjoy. We want to be able to have people pay for them. It's only right that they pay for them. So we'll continue, Honorable to push it. We'll see people must pay for what they're consuming. I think it's probably the right thing for us to be able to do. We've been asked to see, with the RSTP thing, I'll just try and do an RSTP conversation and answer all the questions. And it also talks about the issue of procurement. I think I mentioned before, Honorable Chair, we were asked by Parliament with Sicily investigation RSTP. And that investigation comes in many folds. But we're mainly looking at the finances, we're mainly looking at the human resources, and we're looking at the asset base. But we've also done a whole other investigation on the buildings. Why? Because in every report you see, going 5-10 years now, is every year it was 96% we have paid up by just only 100 million. So what we wanted to do is to say, listen, let's get an investigation that says how much really is the exact amount that we can build and finish, guys, and not keep throwing money in by snappers when they are in. So that report, I think, will be in a couple of days, and we'll then know what it's this amount. And when we request an amount from the government purse, we can put our heads on our hearts and say, absolutely, this is the amount that it's going to be, and we finish the buildings. We've got to check if the buildings are built properly. That's a discussion for another day, but I'm just saying, those are the elements that we are looking at, because some areas have really been lacking, and so we will have to go back and fix certain things, and that becomes more costly. But, we'll look and see what happens there. You asked also, Honorable Chair, about the issue of the CEO. We had put a request to the Office of the AG about this investigation in February of last year. And the company, from what I understand, was awarded in January, or appointed, or whatever you call it, in January. So it did delay a lot of the plans. Because if we are going to have an institution that we bring in a top-notch team, whether it's the top team, the middle team, and the lower team, we have to know what we're working with. What has really happened with the assets? Because there's a problem that I can tell you free of charge. What has really happened? What's the personnel issue? Who are they working with? You can't give the person a KPI to say, I want you to reach this and this and this, and there's no resources behind that. So this investigation will then allow us as a minister to say, okay, here are the gaps, here's how we fill the gaps, here are the challenges, this is how we fix the challenges. So we certainly are looking, even when I go to the grocery store, people want to know about the CEO of RSTP, which I find quite interesting. No one asked me about the CEO of anywhere else but RSTP. But that being said, we are working on it, the board is working on it. They want to ensure that they have the best people, because that institution, by the way, Chair, is going to be the engine for all ICT in the country. Even the ICT Act of 2023 says all ICT-related issues should really be worked through there. That's the ideal that this act is all about. So you have to then know what it has and how it has it, and then give it capacity in any way, shape, or form that you can afford to do. That then, if you can't then go to people and ask for their information, but you don't know where you're going to put it. Do you have the right resources, the right assets? So that's why, Honorable Chair, we're looking to say, how do we look at RSDP and ensure that whoever is coming in